Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Victoria, and guys, today we have a book haul. So, as many of you know, if you've been here for a long time, I rarely buy physical books. I don't usually buy physical books unless I've read them, or I get them used. So I listen to audiobooks or read ebooks for my reading, and I don't own a whole ton of physical books because all of the physical books that I own, I've read and I love. So I recently, in the last month, have acquired quite a few books, and some of them I haven't read. It's very interesting. I found quite a few used. I was gifted a couple, and I recently went, my best friend from college visited, and whenever she visits we go to bookstores. And we went to the Strand in New York City, which is a huge indie bookstore in New York City, and we also went to the New York City Union Square Barnes & Noble, which is the largest Barnes & Noble in the Barnes & Noble chain. So yeah, it's like 5 floors. So we had some fun. I bought some books. So when I was going to film this video, I was thinking it was going to be a really small one, but I brought all the books over here, and there's 2 full stacks. So it's not as small as I thought it was going to be, but we're still going to go through quickly because I have somewhere to be really soon. Also, I will have another book haul coming soon, which will be a lot larger because I'm going to Love in Vegas at the end of October. And so I've bought a bunch of books for Love in Vegas. I pre-ordered a whole bunch, and I'm sure I will buy books there. So that will be coming in November. But this book haul does not include the books that I've bought for Love in Vegas, because I'm just going to include those in my Love in Vegas book haul. But without further ado, we're going to get into the books because book hauls are hard to edit. So the first one that I have is one that I've read. It is one that was actually gifted to me. They're not all together, but I've got a whole stack of books that somebody was getting rid of, and they were like, hey Victoria, do you want any of these books? And I picked out like 4 or 5 of them that they sent to me, which was very, very sweet of them, so thank you so much. But the first one was Moonstruck by Onley James. This is book 3 in the Necessary Evils series. It is Atticus and Jericho's book, and it's super interesting. I really enjoyed it. I think I gave it 4 stars. It's not my favorite in the series, but it is not my least favorite either, and it also came with an Onley James signed book plate, which was super cool. And that's fun. I didn't plan this ahead. I never plan these book hauls ahead where somewhere to like put the books after I'm done talking about them. Okay, the next one is one that I bought at the Barnes & Noble in New York City, and that is Wrecked by Lauren Asher. I own Redeemed by Lauren Asher, and I own it in this cover, the like alternate cover, because it was less expensive on Amazon than the Hot Guy cover, because I usually am a Hot Guy lover. But because I have that cover of Redeemed, which is my favorite book in the series, when this one was at Barnes & Noble, I grabbed it right up. And also, this is a Formula 1 racing romance. It's book 3 in the series, and I only read book 3 and 4, and I don't know if I'm going to go back and read 1 and 2, but I loved book 3 and 4. So if you want to read this series, I would highly recommend book 3 and 4. Book 4 is my favorite, but book 3 is also fantastic. But they're Formula 1 racing romances, and they're super fun. Okay. The next one is another one that I got at the New York City Barnes & Noble, and that is The Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston. This one, I was in a really spooky vibes mood when I was at Barnes & Noble in New York City, so I did get quite a few like October-y feels ones, and this is one of them. This is a ghost romance, and I've been seeing a lot about it, and it looks super, super interesting, and I'm really, really excited to read it. The loan from the library just came through, so I'm really excited. I'm gonna read this really soon. Okay, if you don't know, Candy Steiner got married in September, so congratulations, Candy Steiner. She looked beautiful. She went to Switzerland or something like that, and it was stunning. But because she was getting married, she put a bunch of all of her paperback books on sale. And so I picked up 3 of them, but I only have 2 in my hand right here because I don't know where the third one is. It's lower down in the stack and I'm not going to try and grab it. But the 2 that are in my hand are Fair Catch and Blindside. These are a series, but you can read them as standalones. I actually read Blindside first, even though it's technically book 2, but they're football romances. And this one is fake dating. He's the quarterback and she is the PR intern or PR assistant for the team. And this one is enemies to lovers, brother's best friend, roommates romance. They are both great. I loved this one. This is an absolute, would highly, highly recommend this book. This one is also fantastic. I gave this one 4 stars and this one 5 stars. Love them. Very, very good. I'm very excited to have them. These covers are so beautiful. I love the coloring on this one. Purple's my favorite color, and I just think it's beautiful. Okay, the next one that I have is Praise by Sarah Kate. Sarah Kate announced that the Salacious Players Club series was picked up by a publisher and that the covers are getting changed. And so the Hawkeye covers are leaving, and I wanted the Hawkeye covers. And so Praise is leaving in October, I believe, and so I bought this immediately and will be attempting to buy the rest of the series before it leaves also, but I have a little bit more time with that. So I bought Praise. I love this book, 5 stars. It is a ex-boyfriend's dad romance. It is age gap, obviously, and it is a dom sub situation. It's great. Okay, the next one that I have is The Crush by Carla Sorensen. So I haven't read this book yet, but Carla Sorensen had a different cover for this. And she announced on her Facebook page that she was changing the cover to this one. And I immediately placed an order because I was trying to get the old cover actually, but I got this one instead. It's okay. This cover is still pretty. I just liked the old cover better, so I tried to get the old cover before it left. I have this one now, but it's still pretty. I still like it. I haven't read this book yet because the audiobook is still not out, but I did like the old cover better. Oh, another one that was gifted to me in the stack of books that the person was getting rid of was Luna and the Lie by Mariana Zapata. This one is one of the few Mariana Zapata books that I didn't own. And this one is a Grumpy Sunshine romance where she works as a mechanic. And I really loved it. This book is so thick. I always get so surprised when I look at Mariana Zapata books and like you see how fucking big the actual writing is because of how thick the spines are. But I really love this and I'm so excited to have it. Okay, next one is another one that same person was getting rid of, and that is A Lessons in Sin by Pam Godwin. This one is a priest romance, and it's also super perfect because Pam Godwin is going to be at Book Bonanza next year, so I'm excited to have a Pam Godwin book. And I actually got 2 Pam Godwin books because Jess from Peace Love Books very kindly gifted this copy of Sea of Ruin to me, and I am so glad to finally have this. Thank you so much, Jess. I love it. So I have 2 books for Pam Godwin to sign at Book Bonanza now. And they are the only 2 Pam Godwin books I've read, so it makes sense that they're the ones that I got. Okay, then the last one in this stack is one that I got at the Strand bookstore in New York City, and that is Belladonna. This book is a YA fantasy, and I've been wanting to read it. I've heard so much about it. It's a Death in the Maiden retelling. I'm going to read it in October, and the cover is stunning. But also, not just the cover, these are the end pages, and this is the naked hardcover. Like, I had to have it. And I was at the Strand and they had a bunch of signed copies. So I picked one up. And I'm so excited to have it, read it. It's beautiful. I'm so excited. Okay, one stack down. Let's go to the next stack. Oh, there's so many things everywhere. Okay, so the first one in this stack is one that, the first 3 actually, are from my town library's book sale. They had my town library was having a book sale. They think they do it like twice a year. and I stopped by on the day when it was half price. And I got 3 books. The first one is this one, which is One Bossy Proposal by Nicole Snow. It's a workplace boss assistant romance, and I believe it's marriage, temporary marriage of convenience fake dating situation. And it really, really reminded me when I was reading the back of Boss Man's Bridegroom by Megan Quinn, and I really love that book, so I picked it up. It was literally like 50 cents, $1, something like that, and I thought it looked fun, so I grabbed it. Next one that I got is The Wicker King by Kay Ankrum. I've seen this around so freaking much, and it looks so interesting. It's been out for a really long time. I remember hearing really good things about it when it first came out, and I remember hearing that the actual like physical copy of it is super interesting, because as you're reading, like, the book like degrades sort of, which is super interesting. And so I'm gonna try and read it and like follow along with the physical book because I think it looks really cool. I honestly don't know much of what it's about. I just remember hearing a lot about it. I am excited to read it. I have heard a lot about it and still don't know anything about it, so I think it's gonna be fun. And then the last one that I got at that library sale is one that I was literally like screamed to my friend when I saw that it was there, because my library sale never has like super books that I'm like really looking for, and that is The Worst Best Man by Lucy Score. This book, at the time I had just bought the audiobook, and now I have actually read it, and I actually really enjoyed it. I really love Lucy Score. She is, I think, going to become a new author, new favorite author of mine. Her books are really chunky, but they fly by very quickly. Like, I don't feel like they're overly long. But I'm really excited to have this. I thought that it was crazy that they had it at my library sale, but for $1 I got this book, which is great because Lucy Score is also going to be at Book Bonanza next year. So now I have a Lucy Score book. Okay, the next one is one that was also gifted to me in that pile that this girl was getting rid of, and that is Broken Miles by Claire Kingsley. This is actually the only book in the Miles series that I haven't read, because it is a second chance. They were married and he got divorced and then they get back together. So I haven't read this one yet, but I've read all of the other Miles family books, and I just happened to skip this one at the time because I wasn't in the mood for a second chance romance. But when I am in the mood for a second chance romance, this is going to be perfect. I did buy the audiobook in the audiobook sale, so it's going to be perfect. I really love the setting of the Miles family because they live on a vineyard, and I think that's super cool. So I'm excited about it. Then the next one that I got, or the next few that I got actually, are all from the Barnes & Noble in New York City. The first one is Lore and Lust. I had never seen this in a Barnes & Noble, and I remember Tori from Novel Life talking about this book a whole bunch. I believe it's MM Paranormal. It sounds so interesting, and this cover, I just couldn't put it back. I was like, I need it. Isn't it beautiful? So I hope I love it. I think that I will. The way that Tori was talking about it, it sounded really, really interesting, so I had to have it. Then the next one that I got, or the next two that I got actually, were both YA. The first one is The Sunbearer Trials by Aiden Thomas. I read Cemetery Boys by Aiden Thomas, and I really loved it. And this sounded super interesting and reminded me of like all the like YA books that I read when I was in like high school and middle school that I really, really loved, but gay. And so I really was like, yeah, that sounds great. One of the characters is trans, and Aiden Thomas, I believe, is also trans, so it is a own voices type story, and I think that that's beautiful, and I'm really excited to read the YAs that I loved as a kid, but with more diverse characters and an own voices character. And so I think that it's going to be great. I think that this was beautiful, and I've been really trying to read more YA fantasy because I miss it. And so going with an author that I've read before seemed like a good way to go. And my library has the audiobook, so that's good. Then the next one that I have, like I said, is also YA fantasy, and that is Foul Lady Fortune by Chloe Gong. I believe that I own one of Chloe Gong's old books that I can't remember the name of, but I've never read it. And this one is her new one. And when I saw it, the first thing that drew me in was these absolutely gorgeous maroon sprayed edges in this Barnes & Noble. But when I went over to it, because of how beautiful it was, I read the synopsis and I had to get it. It sounds so interesting and I'm so excited. So I'm just going to read you a little bit of the synopsis because I don't think I can explain it very well, but it says, it is 1931 in Shanghai and the stage is set for a new decade of intrigue. 4 years ago, Rosalind Lang was brought back from the brink of death, but the strange experiment that saved her also stopped her from sleeping or aging and allows her to heal from any wound. In short, Rosalind cannot die. Now desperate for redemption from her traitorous past, she uses her abilities as an assassin for her country, codename Fortune. But when the Imperial Japanese Army begins its invasion march, Rosalind's mission pivots. A series of murders is causing unrest in Shanghai, and the Japanese are under suspicion. Rosalind's new orders are to infiltrate foreign society and identify the culprits behind the terror plot before more of her people are killed. To reduce suspicion, however, she must pose as the wife of another nationalist spy, Orion Heng, and though Rosalind finds Orion's cavalier attitude and playboy demeanor infuriating, she is willing to work with him for the greater good. But Orion has an agenda of his own, and Rosalind has secrets that she wants to keep buried. As they both attempt to unravel the conspiracy, the two spies soon find that there are deeper and more horrifying layers to this mystery than they ever imagined. Does that not sound incredible? Spies forced to pretend to be husband and wife, but they don't get along. It sounds amazing. So I'm super excited. I think this cover is beautiful. It also happens to be signed, and I just am so incredibly excited, and I'm gonna read it in October, hopefully, because assassin fantasy, like, it gives me October vibes, you know? Plus the cover colors give me October vibes, so I'm planning on reading it in October. We're gonna see how it goes. Okay. The next one is one that I found at a little used bookstore for like $1, and that is How to Fail at Flirting by Denise Williams. I have seen so much about this book, but I've never actually read from this author before. But this one sounds good. I have seen people read it, and some of my friends on Goodreads have given it very high ratings. So I grabbed it when it was like 50 cents, $1. The next one is another one that was gifted to me, and that is By a Thread by Lucy Score. I've read and love this book by Lucy Score. I give it 5 stars. It's so good. It's workplace, it's super interesting, it's enemies to lovers, the banter in it is fantastic, the tension in it is so good, it's forbidden because they work together, and it's super, super good. Like I said, her books are all very long, but they go by very quickly, like they don't feel overly long. So I loved it, I'm really excited to have it, thank you so much. Then the next one is a Jodi Ellen Malpas book that is called The Resurrection. It's actually book 3 in a series that I haven't read. I think The Brit is book 1, but for some reason on Amazon it was priced at $3, so I bought it. It was $3 for this. I don't know why. It ended up being like almost $4 with like tax and stuff, but damn, I was like, I don't care if I've never read this book. It's $3. I'm gonna buy it. So I don't know if that was like a mistake or what, but for some fucking reason I paid $3 for this book. And Jodi Ellen Malpas is gonna be in Vegas, so I might bring it to Vegas just to get it signed, even though I haven't read any of her books, and it's randomly book 3. Whatever. Okay, I only have one left, and the last one is the other Candy Steiner book that I grabbed when it was on sale, and that is the 10th anniversary? Nope, 5th anniversary edition of A Love Letter to Whiskey. This book is normally $35, but it was on sale for $16. And I haven't read this book, but I just recently bought the audiobook in the audiobook sale, and I know that if I read this and I absolutely love it, I'm going to be kicking myself if I didn't buy the physical book when it was $16. So I grabbed it when it was $16 and I justified it as Candy Steiner is going to be in Book Bonanza next year and I'm going to have to buy books for her anyway. So I grabbed this. It's giant, like I said, normally $35. It has the dude's point of view in it, I guess, is like what people say is the like extra part. And apparently I know that Tori recently, yeah, this like whole section she recently showed that I was super surprised about is that this whole section, like that's at the end, is all the dude's point of view. And like when I first heard about it, I thought it was gonna be like one chapter, but it's actually like a really long section. So I figured that it was worth it and I'm very glad to have it and I very much hope that I love the actual book. But that is it. That was the last one. So I hope you enjoyed this nice little book haul. It was not as small as I thought. But yeah, I've bought a lot of books recently. And I will have another book haul coming soon in November with all of my freaking pre-orders and purchases that I'm going to get in Vegas because I'm actually going to be in Vegas for a whole week and I guarantee you that the Vegas book signing is not going to be the only book store situation that I go to while I'm there. So that is going to be it. So thank you so much for watching. Please give it a like if you liked it and subscribe so you can stick around and see more content from me. And as always, let me know down in the comments below if you've read any of these books, what your thoughts on them are. I'd love to hear about it. But that's going to be it. So I hope that you have a great day. Bye.